So, hello everybody. How are you doing this fine afternoon, evening, I guess, wherever you are? It is Thursday, and as Donovan and I both said we actually want to call this show, I guess, Don't Believe the Hype. It's a show that we had years ago where we asked you to go beneath the surface of what you've been taught and really do some thinking for yourselves. And so we're going to start calling Thursdays Don't Believe the Hype. Of course, we're going to have a very spirited discussion with the comment section, YouTube and Facebook. I'll be out of Facebook jail, I think, Sunday, definitely, if not Monday. So we'll be able to directly have Facebook here with us. But in the meantime, thank you, YouTube, the Pioneer. How you doing, Jafia? What's going on with you? We'd also ask that you all share this video so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation. Also, just at the beginning, we do have donation ways to donate: Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, and even become a member of the channel to help support this channel and all that is doing. And so also thank you to Marcus Guide for everything he does behind the scenes. And so Donovan, actually, before we get started, we're going to have a discussion about relationships. So I'll post on social media, and it kind of, got a little back and forth about it. And I'll show you guys in just a minute, but Donovan actually wants to start off with something. So here we go.
Okay, you guys, welcome to the show. Again, Don't Believe the Hype, or you can just call it hype like I do, because there's a lot of hype going around the nation. This is like mostly, we talk really good politics, especially now that we're entering an election season. So it's very important that we understand the difference between the bullshit and the hype, okay? And what's really real. Quick announcement. The 11th district in Ohio, Nina Turner versus Shontel Brown. If you guys did not hear, Shontel Brown is under an ethics investigation having to do with her steering money as a council member or whatever she was to the family or the person she lives with, the man she lives with, whatever. Once again, doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, or Asian. These politicians, once they get in there, they just start stealing the money. But here's the deal. Dark money has entered that race. And what do I mean by dark money? That's money that you really can't trace. It's untraceable type. And we're talking about $4 million. Now, ask yourself this question. If they've got to get Hillary Clinton, James Clyburn, all these people to back this Shontel Brown chick, plus dark money, what is it that Nina Turner is doing that has the establishment Democrats afraid of her getting elected? What is it? So if you guys aren't paying attention to that election, you need to pay attention to it, because I'm telling you, one of the reasons is Nina Turner is a progressive. You get one in there, then you get another, then you get another, and it starts the crumbling of the current Democratic establishment, and that's what they're afraid of. We talk about controlled environment and stuff and controlled opposition. This is what we're talking about. This woman, Shontel Brown, is not very good campaigning, and she's even taken Republican money. So what have I told you guys about these two parties? They're the same. It's about access and it's about power. They do not care about you. They don't care about me. All they care about is power and stealing your tax dollars for the benefit of themselves. So I just wanted to bring that up. If you're not paying attention to that race, you need to pay attention to that race, because as the congressional midterms come, that is going to tell you a lot of how the grassroots has started to affect these races. The new black media, all that stuff is doing it. It's very important, because when you have two black women and there's a distinct difference between an established one, and I mean, how can you be a black woman, again, the backbone of the Democratic Party, but we can't get anything, who's for healthcare for all, and one who's just for the status quo? They're pitting us against each other, and we have to stay on code and know the difference of those of us who keep voting these people in the office. James Clyburn, 80-year-old man that don't give a damn about black people, but yet he gets voted into office again and again and again and again. So we're going to talk about it, and just wanted to give you guys, pay attention to that race, and also pay attention to the senatorial race in Georgia. Tamara Shealy Johnson and Ralph Warnock are involved in that one there. And again, Joe Biden is at 50%, y'all. 50%. He came in the office at 57%. That means he's lost a percentage every month. That doesn't look good. Where are the Sororos? Where are the Biden supporters? We haven't even seen Kamala Harris in almost a month. Where did she go? You guys got to pay attention. This is telling you guys something. All right, but let's get into it, shall we?
And speaking of paying attention, ladies, are you guys paying attention that Donovan has his little tank top on? He wants to show us what he's working with. He hasn't gotten to the Speedos just yet, but you know, he's working on it. So anyway.
Hey, wait. Before you do that, I'm going to be flying as soon as we get out of here. So I got my flight bag on. So I want to just roll up and go.
Wow. Ooh, and the pilot. Okay. So anyway, hello, Robin and the Church Lady Reed Show. How you doing? And Magically Me. And who else is on here? And Gerard. So anyway, let me get to you guys' comments before I start off on the main topic at hand. And so Jafia says, in Facebook jail for 18 more days. Yeah, I got 3 left, I think. The Pioneer says, Donovan, is it a tank top today? See, I should have saw that. Yes, he's pouring it on thick, you guys. Yes, good evening, Robin. And hey to you, Church Lady. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? And thank you for the compliment on my hair. I don't know why I wore it out today. I think I washed it yesterday or something.
You guys are looking at a Bryn the novelist, okay? That is not Demetra. My co-host today is a Bryn the novelist.
That's my mama. So anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and put this up here. All right, so y'all can see this image here, and we're gonna have I know it's gonna be a pretty good discussion with you all here. So if you guys see this image, I saw this image in a group that I'm in on Facebook early this morning, and I'll go ahead and read to you guys what it says because it's kind of small. So it says, boys like girls who make 7-Up floats. You guys ever had a 7-Up float before? I have it, and it's pretty good. All right, so, and it's really small. So it says, what every young girl should know is this: nobody can resist a 7-Up float. Want to see? Put a scoop of his favorite ice cream or sherbet in a tall glass. Tilt the glass and pour chilled, sparkling 7-Up gently down the side. The fresh, clean taste of 7-Up works a special magic with ice cream. And don't forget a 7-Up float for yourself. P.S. Boys like 7-Up, girls like 7-Up. For regular thirst quenching too, take home a case of 7-Up so you'll have plenty on hand. You like it. It says, you like it, it likes you. The writing was really small anyway. So, all right. To me, I read an ad from the late 50s, early 60s, maybe. I'm not quite sure exactly when this particular ad came out. But anyway, it's a dated ad, right? And so some people, mostly women, took offense to it, you know, because basically saying, you know, I guess she's in a servant role. And
yes, how dare she be in a servant role? That is just ridiculous that a woman has to put up with this stuff and serve a man. How dare you? You know what's really sad is these young women do not understand the context of when this poster was done. And in that time, I'm all for times have changed and stuff like that. But there was no feminism back then.
Donovan gonna be cutting up, I could tell. So yeah, so you know, some women, you know, got offended, and I said, well, you know, that was a time when women understood, you know, I don't want to say her role, like, because it's sad that I even have to like have interpretation when I say that, because somebody's gonna get mad. But it's like they didn't have a problem doing that. Those are the things that women were taught. Like I tell you guys all the time, my mom had her nursing degree, and she stopped doing that to stay home as my father worked and raised her children. And, you know, I said my mom was a very accomplished woman, but one of her greatest accomplishments was raising 4 children that are about something and are doing something and that are intelligent. And that was solely accredited to her. Well, I won't say solely, because then it kind of, you know, takes my father, and I have 2 fathers, take them out of the game. But that had a lot to do with her staying home, playing her position or her role or whatever it was, in addition to my father, being outside of the home, working and bringing home the bacon and making it possible for my mom to do that. And
wait. Your dad had to play his role? How dare you lock that man up and do all this stuff? Why should he have to take care of a woman and kids that gets pregnant? Why does he have to do all this stuff? Isn't that the same argument? How dare a man have to have responsibility that has been put on him for thousands of years and go out there and work and support a woman and support children that he brings into this world? How dare he?
So some people just took offense to this, and I'm like, when did this become a problem? And that's why I'm gonna get to all y'all comments. But when did this become an issue? When did we start saying that makes a woman less than if she's pouring or creating a 7-Up float for men? Like, where is that the problem now? That wasn't. See, I'm one of those people, like, pictures are worth 1,000 words, as they say. But that's not, the article wasn't saying that's all she can do. That's all she's good for, is making dudes 7-Up floats. You don't know, this woman might be a business owner. She might have a great career. She might not even want a man. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Some women are just good at spending money. Some women are good just at looking good. Some women are just as good as just, being who they are,
Right. So, and to your point, I'm going to get your comments. The other part of that is, could have been saying, no, listen, I'm not going to deny that chauvinism wasn't huge back then. It was, but it was kind of normal, right? But to Donovan's point, maybe the ad is also saying, ladies, you can be, a man wants more than a woman who is just pretty, because just pretty wears off after a while. What can you do other than be pretty? And I'm not saying what can you do just to be to serve a man, but just in general, right?
Let me add this to it. Now, I notice in a lot of Latin American countries, women are so oppressed down there. The machismo, as the men come at them so hard and be expecting them to do this and where's the uprising for the Latin women who are being raised to support their families and support their men and do all those other things? When we were in Costa Rica, I saw women walking the streets, going to their jobs, picking up their kids, and still coming home and making dinner, because the culture dictates they play that role and the man plays his role. So what's the problem here?
All right, so let's get to some of y'all comments here, see what y'all got going on. And so Gerard said, primary election is next week. And then Kara, how you doing? He says, hello. And Church Lady says, Donovan says he's ready. The Pioneer says, well, as far as I'm concerned, we should make it even. If Don is coming on his Speedos, then Demetra should come on in hers. No. Don't get offended, just asking for some equality. Wow, y'all gonna be asking for a long time.
If Demetra came out in her Speedos, our likes and clicks would go up substantially.
Therefore, we just gonna keep it on a cerebral level here. And let's see. And Marty, how you doing? Says happy birthday to me. Welcome to you both. I really enjoyed Demetra and Donovan. You're on before Friday, but that's okay. I'm getting ready to step out. I'm having problems with this stupid phone loading. Oh no. Well, I hope you come back once your phone resolves its issues. And Pioneer says, why they got the dark skinned see wow. Why they got the dark skinned brother way in the back grinning, trying to catch up with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Why do they got that? How dare they do that? What kind of time is that? You don't put no black people in the back. We're just as equal as everybody else. You can't be doing that. And why is the Puerto Rican guy in the front? Why can't it be a brother in front? Where's the white guy? Where's the Asian guy? How dare we do this stuff?
You know what, Pioneer? I didn't even peep that out, but I don't know. Maybe you on to something. I don't know. Antoine, how you doing? And Robin, you in here busting up. And let's see, your morning says, happy birthday to me. You've been bringing a lot of great, beautiful topics to me. Your keep up the great work. So, Biden is, he says, have some HBCUs and paid off the tuition. What do you, in your comment, cut off? Did he? Hey, Tay, how you doing? Says Donovan missed the mark. Okay. Donovan, you want to respond to that?
What mark did I miss? I'm basically repeating what some feminists are saying. That's basically what a feminist would say. Why is the black guy? I'm a black man. Why has he got to be in the back? We ain't putting up for that shit no more. You see what I'm saying? But no, I'm looking at it. If I'm looking at it rational, not like a feminist or a whatever you call it, that was a picture back in the 1950s and 60s. So its time is its time, and you got to give it to it like that. Nobody's repressing that woman. I don't see her in chains. If that's what she wants to do, let her do it. I actually believe women put on makeup, they put on nails, they put on hair, or whatever they're doing to attract the opposite sex. As this ad proclaims, and it's not saying it's factual, but they're saying boys like girls who make 7-Up floats. You know what? I like girls that make 7-Up floats, so there's some truth to that ad. It isn't saying everybody, but how is that being oppressive to her, keeping her down? I don't know. But somehow people are pulling that out of the comments and saying, oh, gosh, she's oppressed. How dare she serve a man? Well, go to Latin countries and see the majority of how women treat their men and how the dynamic works. I'm not saying, we're not Latin, so I know American culture is different. But even here in America, you have people that still do and play their roles according to the standard of what has always been.
All right. And so, Kara, you say we should still serve our men. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I'm huge on that. I just, like I said,
genius.
I've seen it done, for my mother and my grandmother. So I didn't think that was strange. Robin says, did y'all hear about the Army Ranger that brutally beat to death a black female security guard in Tacoma? No, did not hear about that at all, but I'm sure I will. Hey, Chocolate Girl, how you doing? And 313 Dreaming, how you doing? You say, they just mad. They don't have a man to do this with. I promise. Oh, Lord, just stepping on some toes.
Thank you. That could be a possibility too. Like I said, all possibilities are open.
I'm gonna just go and let y'all. I'm just saying you stepping on some toes right now. Jafia says, even if the past was done, the post was done in the 50s, serving your man is not being a servant, especially if he serves you too. Yes. And that's the other thing I think a lot of people leave off. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to get in trouble, but I think a lot of women who feel like, oh, I'm just trying to, y'all trying to make me the servant. Maybe you serving somebody that's not worthy. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe you serving somebody who's not worthy of that. And, to your point, Jafia, it should be a man who is doing his part and serving you too and all of that. Yes, it's a give and take. It's not, oh, massa, you want a 7-Up float today, massa. It's not like a servant and master situation. This is my role. This is your role. And, we jive, right? We do what we do and it works. And Morning says, thank you, Pioneer, for wishing me a happy birthday. God is good. I'm trying to enjoy the best day that I can. Been up all night with the neighbors sitting up fighting each other. One got stabbed only in Detroit. Well, damn, where you living at, girl?
She must have been on that Spirit flight.
Oh. Spirit is my airline. I don't care what y'all say, okay? Soul Plane, Spirit, whatever.
I'm with Phil Scott. Nope, I want to price them out of there so I don't have those incidents.
But that's exactly what's going to happen. Spirit going to come up on their prices, and Negroes ain't going to be in the air like that we in the air because they going to come up on those prices. And I know it's cliche and stereotypical, but people talk about this is what happened. You give out the PPP loans, not everybody flying, but it's like, do PPP loans make you act like that? I mean, these Negroes is really revealing who the air marshal is on some of these flights. They're making him come out of incognito. It's crazy. Donovan says there's nothing wrong with being a woman and a housewife. Oh Lord, just stepping on some toes, brothers.
No, like I said, my mom, when she came out of high school, she was geared and prepared, like most women of her era, to be housewives. That's what they aspired to be when they came out of high school. They're going to get a man. He's going to do his role. She was going to raise the kids and stay home. And that's what my mom did until my father passed. Then she got out there in the workforce. When is it such a bad thing to be considered a homemaker? When is that such a bad thing?
We're going to find out. And 313 said, I don't pay attention to sisters like this. They got a problem with everything, especially if it has something to do with black men. Wow. I'm just going to keep reading the comments until, we get to the end here. Because I do have some, opinions on it. But I'm going to let y'all have y'all say and leave off my commentary for a minute. Selena, how you doing? It says, I absolutely love this picture. Women took pride in submitting and serving the important men in their lives, and men respected and appreciate them. I'm with you 100%. I love this picture too. I really do. I mean, I know it's an advertisement, but look at their faces. It says there's joy and pleasure from both sides of it, right? She doesn't look like she's...
That is bull crap. She is being oppressed by those three men, and it's just bull Twinkies. Feminism will always take over. Free yourselves, ladies. Free yourselves.
Oh my God. Fine. This says, I'm not a feminist, but I like an egalitarian society where men and women have the same rights and opportunities. I prefer the traditional woman personally, but I don't want it forced. Yeah, I mean, and just because she's serving, to your point, a 7-Up float, that don't mean she's not equal to him. She's serving the float. Like, how did we get to where she's oppressed?
You know what, though? I'm not afraid to say this because, I'm over this feminism bullshit because I'm tired of sisters out there busting your ass, doing all this shit by yourself, which can't be done in the modern age. You need 2 incomes unless you got it like that. I really wish women didn't have to work. I wish they did stay home of their own prerogative and did what they want to do and had a good man with them. That's what I wish for women. That's what I want. If you want to go out there and work, you should go out there to work because you want to, not because you have to. I'm sick and tired of sisters struggling because they believe they can do everything a man can do. A man can't do everything a woman can do. So what are you talking about?
Wow. Tay says, this has nothing to do with gender roles or serving a man. You are shifting the conversation from an ad to an intimate relationship and those roles. Well, I mean, so technically speaking, their genders don't have anything to do with roles. But if we're speaking in a traditional sense, and I'm a product of a traditional relationship in that the woman stayed home, and my mom being a woman that stayed home was not no dumb woman. She wasn't a woman that, felt less than because she did that. But that's where I come from. So that's what I know as far as a traditional relationship. Did they have their issues? Yeah, they had their issues. But I never saw my mom or my grandmother complain about that. My grandfather and my dad had dinner on the table every night. My mom stayed home with us, made sure we got to and from school, did our homework and played with us and taught us things. And, but so men can do that too. But that's not the school I come from. That's not the and to Donovan, I think I know where he's going to go with that. My father, who is 77 years old now, he'll tell you, ain't no woman, for one, going to take his manhood by taking care of him. He's going to do the providing. He would that his woman stay home and he goes out and works and she does, what she needs to do, operating out of her divine femininity, if you will. And so she could be soft. So technically, are there roles assigned to gender? To me, it depends on who you ask. Donovan, did you have something to say before I go to these comments?
You know what? I'm just going to say this. Speaking as a man, and when growing up, D, we're the last of that old school that kind of saw that traditional model back in the day. We're the last Generation Xers. We're the ones that most emulate our parents. So we kind of had a piece of that. I feel really bad for the kids that don't have it now, but things have changed. I'm going to tell you what, as a young man, seeing moms in the home and all the shit that they had to do, I would rather go out there and work because to me, it is so much harder to stay home, manage that house, raise those children, and get the cooking and the cleaning done. That's a hard ass job, and not just anybody can do it. And most men, I'm going to say this, can't do it. Me being one of them. I do it because I have to, but to do it as well as when a woman is taught how to do it from generation to generation, from mother to daughter, and so on, there's no way. And you guys know damn well, you go to a man's house or his apartment, it is nowhere near as immaculate as if you walked into a woman's apartment.
You might be on something. And Mona says, Donovan, I like how you just pop up in the comment section. There's nothing wrong with being a lady, a wife, if that's what you choose. We lack morals. This is why so many cultures don't respect us. Good point. And Robin says, what's wrong with serving a man? I served my ex. I fixed his place, beverages, and everything. He just didn't appreciate it. Yeah, and that's the other part of it, And Gerard says, my problem with the ad is that she has to make floats for 3 dudes. Like, what's going on here? I don't know exactly where you was going with that, but I'm going to leave it alone. And the Pioneer says, Queen, is it okay if instead of saying not to be read out loud, I'll just use several asterisks instead? Okay, that'll work too. Thank you. And Gerard says, her 7-Up flows brought the boys to the yard, I guess. Yeah, there you go. And Tay says, how did you go? How did you get that? I think you meant from making a damn float. And at this point, I don't know what you're talking about. How did you get that from? Well, I mean, the other part of that is, how did we get that, she needed a man? Because Tay, that was your argument on Facebook that, women don't need men anymore. You weren't going to teach your daughter, and I'm paraphrasing, so I won't, I would rather read the comment for what it was, but it's like, how did you get that from watching, looking at this photo? How did you get all of that? And Connie, how you doing? It says, Demetria, your hair is fire today. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And Martin says, I'm loving your hair to meet you. He says, you could have been a PSO operator easily. I love how you make the dramatic sounds fun and entertaining. I don't see nothing wrong with this ad. I don't either. And Jafai says, whoever gets home first better start dinner. Well, yeah. So, and I can see that in an environment where a man and a woman is working or whatever the case is. But for me, like, I don't have a problem doing those things. Even working, is it raining? I think it is raining. Even working, and I work from home, I don't have a problem doing those things. I'm not like, well, shoot, you cook, I cooked last night, you cooked. I just do it because I'm just used to doing those things, cooking, doing the laundry, all of that. Because like to Donovan's point, for most women, you man ain't gonna do it right. No way. Not saying you can't, because Donovan keeps a pretty clean house. I'm gonna tell y'all that. And y'all busted
because
up.
I had a mama that stayed at home and kicked ass and taught us how to do it. You remember those days you'd be at school, Mom, talk about, did you get the rice out? Take a pack of meat out.
Yeah, meat out, right. And then if you didn't, it wasn't no microwaves back in the day. It's like, oh, I'm gonna die. And Brotham, how you doing? He says, hello, everybody. Black first, yes, indeed. And Kara says, from what I saw, Biden has nothing to do with the tuition being waived. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that at all. And Leo's son, how you doing? He says, the dark-skinned man in the back in this ad, because that's the way it was back then. If you're black, get back. If you're brown, stick around. If you're light, you all right. That's right. And if you you yellow, you mellow or something like that. So yeah, I mean, that probably was a lot of realness to what we're seeing with that. So I don't doubt that at all. But good observation, both of you. And it says, making the effing float has nothing to do with being attractive and nurturing. Well, it's a quality. I think that's where the ad was going with it, that it's a quality of her knowing how to do something other than, being cute. And you know what? I'm just going to go out and say this. I know somebody's going to get mad, but that's why we got a lot of goddamn hot girls running around that can't do nothing. That's why, and somebody made a good point on my post, you got women bragging about, I don't cook, I don't clean. Like, where do they do that at? And what alternate universe do you live in where a man want to sit up with a woman who can't and won't do those things? Now, there's some cases where a man is very wealthy, but damn, even wealthy dudes trade women out all the time who are not an asset to the union. So I think that's really what it was saying.
Yeah, Demetria, one thing my homemaking mom taught me and my brother as a boy. If she can't cook and clean, she ain't cooking and cleaning somewhere else either.
Well, I don't know about all that, but but yeah, I mean, it's. I don't think it has anything to do with her being attractive and nurturing per se, but it's saying. I mean, like I said, it's really worth 1,000 words, but it could be saying, all right, what else you got? Because one of the things I took away from watching America's Next Top Model, and Tyra Banks said something that Donovan and I say all the time. A lot of people just resting on pretty. I'm just pretty. Hell, with $10,000, anybody could be pretty.
Demetra, didn't I have a chick that was just pretty? Didn't I have one?
You had. Donovan was like, you just pretty, but you up to some bullshit. You got to go. And Donovan is funny. He is a nut. I'm telling you, Donovan has missed his doggone calling. Taylor says, here you go, singing the same song about how women don't treat their men right. No one ever said it was wrong to treat your man. I guess you meant treat your man right. No.
Wait. Let me just say this.
Okay.
And I'm trying to say this without being disrespectful, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you could hear a feminist when you hear one, okay? You could hear it. And usually most feminists don't have a man, okay? And it sounds like a lot of bitterness because, how can I say this? Anybody that would pull anything like that out of this thing, being a female, I would consider a feminist because every goddamn thing isn't a battle between men and women and freedom and slavery, or whatever the deal is. You know what I mean?
I got you, brother. And Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? It says Demetra and Speedos. I'm not missing another show. Y'all will die waiting for that one. I tell you that. Oh man, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier about the content of a lot of shows, and unfortunately, a lot of people end up doing that kind of stuff. You see, the shirt going lower and lower and lower, lower. And then bam, one day you see an ass shot, on the internet. And it's like, well, y'all wasn't paying attention when I was talking about Marcus Garvey and them. And so now, I'm showing y'all booty shots and everybody's paying attention. So yeah, y'all gonna be waiting a long time. James, how you doing? He says, I like 7-Up flows. Hydrate, 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 hydrate. I know we all need to go out and have us a 7-Up float after this is done, huh? And then how you doing, by the way, if I didn't already say that. And Gerard says, the ad says boys like girls. In the 50s, the context, it was as relationship, not as friendship. Yeah, I mean, and again, times were a lot different back then, but I think, and my daughter said this best, we're trying to attach, 21st century ideologies to what they were doing back then. I'm not saying some women didn't have a problem with it, but that was just life. Like I said, my mom said when her and her friends, my mom graduated in 1967, she said the goal was to get married and have a family, raise children. That was the goal, like to be a housewife. They weren't dumb women. That just was the goal. But now that's not, I don't know if that's the goal anymore.
What? Housewife? You mean multiple baby daddies? That's the goal now. Multiple baby daddies. I mean, I'm agreeing with you that the times have changed. I mean, it just seems to me younger women are taught that marriage doesn't have any value. It's just getting the check 18 years and then you're out. Whereas if you were married, there's a lot more benefits to it, but they're not interested in that. They're just interested in a hot girl summer for right now.
Right. All right. And let's see here. Pioneer says, what the black men in the manosphere usually fail to take into account is the racism that interrupts both the black men and women from practicing their natural roles. Black women don't have to rely on black men. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. But then, I think we're aware now. We are aware that slavery has, put a schism between us and everything Jim Crow. Feminism has put a schism between black men and women. We know that now. So it's like, why do we keep operating that way? Why do we keep operating as if we are not one? Black men and women are one. We're supposed to be, but we act like we are not. And I know Black women followed the lead of white women during feminism. But I say this all the time. White women took their asses home after the protest was over and made sure Brad had his casserole.
Shepherd pie. Shepherd pie.
Seasonless soup. He had his food on the table, and then she dealt with the household. And then when he went to work and the kids was at school, she was like, okay, let me take this bra off and get out there in them streets with my sisters. But she wasn't dumb enough to completely let her man go, which is why when you go into the mall or anywhere in America nowadays, what do you see during the day at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning?
White women, Arab women, sometimes some Hispanic women that are entrepreneurs. They're out there just getting themselves together and shopping and, catering to the kids.
And a lot of that is because they can. They got a man at home or at work, taking care of things, and she's able to be, herself. And now listen, I'm not saying that systemic and institutional racism have not played a role in that. But I think we as Black women, unfortunately, hold on to that. It's like, what are you holding on to not needing a man for? I'm one of those women that say, I need a man. I need a man to do a lot of things I can do, but I shouldn't have to do. I need and want a man. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a give and take. Like I said, I'm mechanically inclined. I used to get my lady friends. If you guys notice, I have a lot of lady friends like Demetria and other people like that. These women would literally come to my house, because I used to work on cars with my brother. They would literally come to my house and ask me to do their brakes or ask me to, do something on their car, knowing they had a man. And I wouldn't do it. Now, if you're, by yourself and a woman, you need some help, I was taught, you help the woman out, hey, get me a sandwich, and we'll call it even or whatever. You know what I mean? It was a tit for tat type thing. But you got women that have the audacity to have a so-called man at home and put no demands on that man. And then you're coming to an outside man to do the thing. Make it make sense.
Moving right along. And Gerard says, it was like, you'll find a husband if you do this. But you know what? To your point, that's the way it was, because men and women, they saw a family was important back then. And a man was looking for a woman to make his wife, to have his children, to make the house a home. Those are the things they were looking for. So to your point, and today you'll find a husband, or a husband should find you rather, if you do certain things, and vice versa. So that's still kind of true, right? And Tay says, whoever said gender roles and serving your man was a problem, I never heard that from any woman I know. Well, I've heard that from a lot from women, that, I'm not a servant per se. It's this, I have an issue with submission. But a lot of people are looking at women, I should say, look at submission as something that is not. It's not like you bowing down to him, kissing his feet, and you less than and all of that. It's just, you being the head of the household. Yeah, I'm gonna be submissive to you. And the man is submissive to the wife in so many other ways as well. So it's not a one-sided thing. It shouldn't be anyway. And how
are you going to be a 50-year-old man and got to call and tell your wife where you at? But a submissive man will do that because he knows he's accountable to his wife.
Hey, baby, I'm running a little bit late. I just want you to know this is where I'm at. Don't worry about me or whatever, right? That's not submission. It's just respect, And Pioneer says, and Latino and Arab cultures, the men are the primary job holder and money makers, so the women must submit to and serve them or starve. In the U.S., women can make their own money, and it affects their attitude. Yeah, so it might be... different cultures and things like that. But even women, like my pastors, I don't go to church anymore. I still call him my pastor. She made a good point. She said there was times when I was making more money than my husband, but guess what? He was still the man in the house. I still handed my money to him, or whatever. She delegated the money, but it wasn't this is my money. I'm making all the money. She said I still recognize him as a head of the household. And I didn't treat him any differently because I was making more money than him. So, we got to get rid of that too. Money don't make you, all of a sudden, I guess the head, I don't know. Leo Son says, pay these bills and love me right, and I'll make floats, cook food, etc. You know what I'm saying? Butt naked. Robin.
Yes, the way it used to be. God, I reminisce on those days. Walking around the house naked.
Swinging from chandeliers. Hey, baby. I got it medium rare. That's steak it is. I'm talking about
Yeah,
steak.
and guess what? I was motivated to go out there and then do what I needed to do.
And Tay says there's a growing number of Black women who, especially my age, who would rather be home. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would rather be home, but the other part is, and this is not just all on women, there's a lot of men who just don't see the value in a woman staying home and him taking care of her. He feels like, oh, she's got to get out there and pay half the bills and want her to do all of that.
That man is not fit to walk among men that has that attitude. He is not fit to walk among men, because if you're a man and you are demanding and saying that you are a man, you don't bring home half the loaf. You bring home the whole loaf. Where did I learn that from? My housewife mother said, as a man, you are supposed to bring home the whole loaf, not half the loaf, not the excuses, not this, that, not that. If you ain't got a job, you better make something happen. Get a lawnmower, do something.
Make something. And Robin says, then too, a lot of Black women are holding down full-time jobs and are too stressed out to come home and serve a man too. Yeah. So that's the other thing, women being out there, especially us as Black women being out there in the workforce, we're not allowed to be soft. We're not allowed to just, be just completely feminine. I'm not talking about a feminist, but be feminine, because we out there in them streets too, grinding and punching the clock, and then have to come home and make it happen. But so if we were able to do that more like they used to do, then yeah, I mean, I really believe relationships will last longer than they do. I just really do. James.
Real quick. Well, in our culture, see, what's the number one thing that breaks couples up, especially when they're younger, even when they're older?
Money.
Number one thing, money. It's always going to be money. So why do you think we harp on reparations? If we had the money that we're supposed to have, and we stop getting this idea of struggle, a lot of Black couples will stay together. Some of you young people that are in love and stuff, if you're getting your $130 million a month that you're entitled to because you're a ADOS or you're whatever, descendant of a slave, do you think you'd be having the problems that you're having when it comes to your spouse? The number one breakup of couples, especially in the Black community, is finances. It's not the sex. It's not the, time spent together, whether it's the finances. I don't have a car. One person has a car. One person do that. And the stress is on the woman and this, that. Because you know what? The woman is not the threat to the white man. It's the Black man. So, you got all that going for it. So, it takes two. It's on both sides. There's stress on both sides. I'm just so tired of women beating up on men that don't deserve to be beat up on. There are a lot of good men out there doing an Al Bundy type situation. They're working a job they hate, 40 hours a week plus for life, and they're not getting the respect that they deserve. And it's just not right.
Absolutely. James, you crazy, said, why am I still mad? Because the dark brother is in the back. I didn't even peep that out, but I see it now, y'all. Like, I wonder if she gonna make me one too. Hood Sweetness, how you doing? Thank you so much for the compliment. And Magically Me, you says true. The Pioneer says, like most men, I prefer a traditional wife, but most jobs don't pay enough for her to stay home. So usually both men and women have to work to pay the bills. Unless the man is rich, she must work.
Well, I'll agree with that. But if you do the budgeting right, and if she's good at budgeting, trust me, she can stay home if the budgeting is right and you guys are living within your means. It can be done. I've seen it. Yeah,
and that's another thing people don't realize is with the woman staying home, not only is she cooking and cleaning, that kind of stuff, the domestic stuff, she is good with the money. She's a good steward over the money. She knows how to make the money go farther. Like my dad said, a man mess around and get a woman who he's bringing in a spoonful of money and she's shoveling it out the back door. Don't get a woman like that. Get you a woman who's good with finances, who's not going to be out there tricking off your hard-earned money. To your point, a lot of jobs don't pay that much, but it could work. You don't need 2 cars. have one car, whether she drop you out to work or she don't need to go anywhere. Maybe, I don't know.
But if you're gonna have a car and you have a family, get an SUV. You can't get the little Corvette that you wanted when you were 20 something, 22. You know?
Right? Yeah, get a car that you can afford or whatever the case is. But there's ways to make it work. Do you need cable? We didn't need cable back then.
They still have free signals out there that you can get your HD antenna, put it up. You can get over 130 channels.
Yeah, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, but if you want both have Mercedes and Benzes and, Louboutins and Gucci and so both of y'all probably gonna have your ass some stroke.
Right. Even though Big Mama left you the house, she don't want to live there because, it's an older house. She wants a newer house. Hey, brother, you got to put your foot down. My house right now is 43 years old and I modernized it and I did what I had to do because I don't want to pay no damn mortgage. So I'm living the life that I live. And any girl talk about some girls that I dated. Well, this is your house. That's right. That's right. This is my house. And I didn't stop her from getting her house. If you want to get your own house, you go ahead and get your house. But I'm staying here. I'm staying here and consolidate my money so I can travel and do what I have to do. It can work if you know how to budget. People nowadays do not live within their means. You're getting your kid $500 PlayStation, getting a $300 shoes. You're doing this, you're doing that. Just throwing money right out the window. And then you wonder why two people can't make it. That's not true because I see a lot of my Hispanic friends. Yeah, the dude is working like a dog, but his wife is at home with his 3 kids. How are they doing it?
And she's managing the money just so. And her sweetness. And I like that name too, by the way. It says, I think feminism bamboozled us. It said, now we need 2 incomes. They made it seem like 2 people making bank, but they stagnated pay and inflate costs. They always got tricks. Absolutely. But, to Donovan's point, where there's a will, there's a way. What don't we need? Are we having more things that we want opposed to the things that we need?
Absolutely. You could go to a library and rent DVDs.
Oh, you kidding me?
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I said, I look at these people who migrate to this country legally or illegally, and I see them come here with nothing. And yet they seem to find a way.
Yes, indeed. And Tay says there's nothing wrong with gender roles, but this is about an advertisement. Okay, so can you expound a little bit more on it? Because you keep saying this is about an advertisement, but on Facebook, in all fairness, now I could bring the post up, you made it more than about the advertisement. So, I guess I'm trying to get to exactly what point are you drawing about it being an advertisement? Because you extracted more out of it than it just being an advertisement. And Fight for Black says, I love the hair queen. Oh, thank you. He says, I love.
Oh, and by the way, real quick, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. Taylor is a very, very intelligent type woman, very opinionated. I love that about her, and a good conversationalist. So I don't want anybody to think that we're like beating up Taylor or whatever the deal is. She's got a point, and she's gonna do her thing.
And that's my niece too. So thank you so much, Fight for Black, for the compliment. Yeah, I try to pay attention to myself sometimes when I'm on here, but when I ain't, no, I'm just playing. Let me stop. Pioneer says, we as Black men can't fall into these manospheres traps like a lot of Black women fell into the feminist trap. Both camps are arguing with talking points they got from listening to white folks. Big mistake. Yeah, I agree with that too. I think about Big Mama and Big Papa. I know Big Mama and Big Papa had issues, but guess what? We didn't know about it. We saw them put on a happy front, and I'm not saying they weren't happy, but they made it do what it do. It was probably a lot of times they didn't like each other, but it's like, okay, we trying to preserve a family unit here. So we're going to do what we got to do. I never watched my grandmother or my mom clanking pots around, pissed off. I got to cook for this Negro and, whatever. I'm not saying they never thought that once in a while, but I never saw it myself.
I never saw Big Mama or Mama talk about, we got to have a girls' night, a girls' weekend. I never saw that either. Grandma was always at the house. Always.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, but I always saw the pleasure on my father's face, on my grandfather's face, to come home to a nice hot meal on the table, a woman who was happy to greet him. The kids was happy, you know, and the house was clean. That's what I remember seeing from my grandfather and my father. They didn't seem like they were upset about it. So I don't know. And Tay says, oh my God, that was not my point. Well, make it plain. And Selena says, when me and my ex divorced, he also divorced his obligation to our son, which forced me back into the work field. But I would rather stay home, rest in my femininity, and raise my son. Yes. And that's the point, you know, but a lot of, to your point, a lot of Black women can't do that because we out there making a go of it, you know?
Right. Do you guys realize that women make up over 50% of the workforce now? So what does that mean? If women make up over 50% of the workforce, that means there's 50% of men out there that aren't working in the workforce, you know, like it used to be. Because remember back in the day, you could be a shoe salesman and you still had a suit and stuff and a tie, and most of the men were working. But because of, you know, things have changed and the feminist movement and all that other stuff, now the workforce, especially with AI and stuff, has basically put a lot of strong-willed, bodied men out of work because we have to compete now with our mates.
Yes, indeed. And again, hello, Monet. And I got it, Pioneer. The milkshakes brings all the boys to the yard. Khalees, I got it. And Tay says, my point was, it's a choice. A daily choice to be with someone is better than needing them for a place to lay your head. I see my point was largely missed. So, needing them for a place to say. I mean, well, if you're relying on your man, you need him. And to rely on the place to lay your head, like what is wrong with that? I don't get it.
Yeah, you know, but going to her original post that she had said in regards to, you know, man, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm confused. That post that she put up saying, you know, that she needs a man or whatever, and then on another post, hell with men or whatever it was. You know what I mean? It's confusing. It was confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I need my man in every sense of the word, you know, and if my man is providing a way for me to lay my head down on something at night, then there's nothing wrong with that too. You're supposed to need each other. Like we get, and I'm not saying this about you, Tate, but we don't see marriages the way that should be. You know, like I'm supposed to need you. You supposed to need me, but we think there's something wrong with that. I don't need no man. I ain't gonna need no man for nothing. I ain't gonna rely on no man for nothing. Now, my mama always used to say, only a poor rat has but one hole. So I say that to say, don't be no woman in a relationship or even a man, and you don't have nothing to fall on if it goes south, if you will. You know what I mean? I'm not saying just completely be assed out, but we supposed to need each other.
But wait a minute, though. You said something very, very important. We are the only group that ever says that is what group? You don't see Hispanic women saying, I don't need no man. You don't see Asians saying, I don't need no man. You don't see white women saying, I don't need no man. White women say, I want to be equal to the man to bring as much of that dough home, you know, just like he makes. But you don't see them ever saying they don't need no man. Only in the Black community is that narrative prevalent.
Yeah, it is pretty prevalent. And Pioneer says, how does Donovan keep a clean house with all the cats running around and shedding all over the place? Laugh out loud. I'm going to tell y'all, my friend is a neat freak. This dude is cleaning all the time. I'm telling y'all, listen, I ain't going to lie to y'all. Donovan's house is immaculate. You would, unless you saw the animals, you wouldn't know he had them. Like, for real. And
except Tylen, when Demetra comes over, Tylen did play with her feet and stuff, and she
yeah, that cat is crazy, scratching up my damn feet. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to wear me some closed-toe shoes over here. And Jabaya says, I know they appear older, but all the people in this ad are probably teenagers. Yeah, they probably are. But you know, what better way to when should you start learning about how to be in a relationship, right? There's times where people teach their young babies, boys or girls, how to cook. My daughter can cook better than me. And you know, I do all right, but my daughter can throw down. Like she got a menu on the refrigerator. She says, okay, mom, this is what we're having this week. So you get to pick what you want me to make today. That's how we operate, you know, and I'm the type of person that throws stuff together. It tastes good, don't get me wrong. But, you know, she maps it all out. Okay, this is the menu for the week and this, that, and the other. But she learned those things from myself and, you know, my mama, and her dad is a chef. So she learned those things, but from a very young age. So my point is, yeah, they're teenagers, but when do you start teaching boys and girls how to be good mates in a relationship? When does that start?
I have a question. If we're looking at this picture right there in the modern age, why is a female even in the picture? Shouldn't it say boys like boys who make 7-Up float?
Okay, see, now you're going too
No,
far.
no. I'm just saying in the modern age, would that be acceptable in the modern age? Did you see where I'm going with it? It could mean anything.
It could. Thunder, how you doing? He says, a woman that can cook, she can get both my paychecks and I'm coming home every night. You know what I'm saying? Dude, see, that's what I'm talking about. Baby, what you want tonight?
Now, I'm extremely skinny. Do you know why that is? I run into a lot of women that don't know how to freaking cook.
Ooh, that's what I'm seeing. Ladies, here, I'm going to put your comment up. Just let it ride. I'm going to let it ride. Y'all see that? Continue. And Gallon, how you doing? He says, damn, I was about to read my book until I saw y'all were on. What book you reading, by the way? And Fight for Black says, let's face it, Black love involves both men and women to cater to each other. If she makes me a 7-Up ice cream float, I change the oil in her car and put new tires on the SOB. You know, that's what I'm talking about. It's a give and take. It's not like, well, you go change the tires too after you make my root beer float.
Yeah, you know, I agree with Fight for Black, but see, you know, for me, I would do that anyway because I'm a man.
Right, and I think that's what he said is, you know, it's a give and take. And Hood Sweetness, she says, I love to have a hubby to pamper and spoil, but I'm always working and trying to survive this concrete jungle hell I'm working right now. See what I'm saying?
See, and sister, it is not supposed to be like that. I'm telling you, I see these white women and these Arab women and all these other women in their Mercedes SUVs with the damn kids, and you'll go there early at the mall, and I don't see any sisters. They're all at work. And I'm just saying, no, I just don't believe it should be that way. I just don't. I believe that, you know, the man should be out there working hard and making it easier for these sisters to just do what they want to do in regards to the family and, you know, and being free. I mean, there's more to life than wearing a vest and being on a construction crew in the middle of the damn heat. When I see that, it just irks me. I'm not saying she can't do it. I'm just saying, you know, you should have some options other than I have to. I hate hearing when people say I have to.
And the Pioneer says, this is why I respect and like the Nation of Islam. They actually taught women how to cook, clean, and maintain a home. I think so. I want a better class of women. We must produce them. So if we want a better class of women, we must produce them. Absolutely. You got to teach that. And, you know, because I know somebody said, and men as well. But we got to teach that. And that's what I said. We as women have stopped teaching. We stopped teaching our girls how to be, you know, feminine and how to, you know, make a man say a woman that cooks, she can get both my paychecks and I'm coming home every night. That ain't about you being less than. That's about you knowing how to use what your mama gave you, right? To get what you want.
I will never understand why married men go into gentlemen's clubs and throw money away that could be going, you know, in their household. Brother, take that same $100 that you would spend on a woman that you're never going to get to the VIP room with, go home, flash that in front of your wife or your significant other, and see if you get the same type of treatment. I guarantee you're getting the VIP room.
But then maybe he's out there spending that money with a strange woman because he don't feel like, you know, he's not being treated like that at home. I mean, it could be a whole lot going on, but yeah, if you got a husband out there to spending money on other women, yeah, that's a problem. You need to throw some hot grits on them. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. Okay, let me get back to these comments here. Where to go? Okay, wait. Here we go. Damn, there's a lot of comments. Okay, for real, I'm gonna get to all of these comments. Damn.
It's not a lot.
It is. Okay. I know I can do it. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, so Tay says, I'm literally a stay-at-home mom. I cook and clean daily. I have no problem being a homemaker, nurturing, or serving men. I am not the raging feminist you're making me out to be at Donovan. I'm not making you out to be a raging feminist, but I get, yeah, Donovan did kind of, he just said that it seems that way to him.
Yeah, your comments are something that a feminist would say. I'm not saying you are, because I don't think you are. I'm just saying your comments, though, are the playbook of what a feminist would say and what a person that doesn't have a man would say.
Hey, Sunlight, and tonight, how you doing this fine evening? You say, preach, Sunlight, and then the Pioneer says, Queen, you ain't lying. Some of these conscious sisters on YouTube are showing more and more skin to increase viewership, acting like somebody at their door for an excuse to stand up and show butt and thighs. Yeah, it's like if you got to resort to those type of things, then just click off.
Yeah, Dimitri, I think your doorbell just rang.
All right, I'll be right back.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that just hang it up, sisters, if that's what you feel like you need to do. And Fight for Black says, at Hood Sweetness, my queen, there is a black man out there that is waiting to sweep you off your feet. Absolutely. I agree with that. And Hood Sweetness said that, Pioneer, you're so right. I feel like these so-called dating gurus are behind a white supremacist agenda. The manosphere and femosphere are toxic and divisive and lead toward loneliness and possibly LGBT. You know what? It's funny. I said that to my daughter earlier. About you mess around, that's what you're gonna create by, teaching your kids that, the opposite sex ain't shit. You ain't got to, and who does he and she thinks? All that. Enjoy yourself. Be careful out there. You could be creating that. And again, I don't have a dog in a fight, so I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying. And let me go here. And Hood Sweetness says, thank you. I'm trying to better myself for when he finds me. Yes, indeed. Fight for Black. You say, there is nothing wrong with me leading the way for both of us. I also have no problem letting my woman lead. Yeah, and exactly. So that's not saying a woman can never lead. That's not some way to say it at all, but say that there's a hierarchy in the home. The man is the head of the household, especially if he is doing what he's supposed to be doing. But women lead all the time, and a woman worth her weight know how to do that without being abrasive and rude and taking his manhood and calling all type of names. You just figure out how to get what you want. Figure out how to have a man bring home his paycheck and come home every night. And Robin says, I needs me a man. You know what I'm saying? I need me a man too. I ain't even trying to front. And Thunder says, back then, Black men and women were in unity and accomplished the civil rights movement together. But now there is no open, quote unquote, existential threat, and the unity faded. Yeah, it's like, what we fighting for now? Why are we mad at each other? What's the deal? And it's perpetuated in the media and social media and everywhere else. We don't like each other. Like, we're always trying to find a reason to bring each other down. It's like, at the end of the day, shit, we all we got. And Hood Sweetness, she said, at Taylor, I have so much respect for homemakers. It is a tough job to keep a household together. It's important we raise our kids because the system want to get our people when we're young and vulnerable. Absolutely. So, and to your point, the time to start raising the kids is from the cradle. And Fight for Black says, you already are at Hood Sweetness. He will see who you are, and the both of you will grow together and get to the point of finishing each other's sentences. Love will not allow you to be denied. I love that. Absolutely. And the Pioneer said that Hood Sweetness, absolutely. The likes of Kevin Samuels, Tommy Sotomayor, and Cynthia G are being paid to keep division up in the Black community. They know what they're doing. I 100% agree with you, because their platform is not bringing us together at all. And Silk Black, how you doing? You say thank you. And Hood Sweetness says, so much truth in this chat. I love my people, and I learn so much every day. Yes, indeed. And I like to see you too, the brothers uplifting the sisters, and so much positivity, because that's what we need, right? And, from a Black woman's point of view, it does get tough sometimes, and I've been in a position where I had to do everything by myself, raise my child, provide for the house and all that. And it is hard to operate out of your femininity when, you just sometimes you do feel like a man in a sense to where it's like, golly, I don't have any opportunity to just be a woman. You know what I mean? Not saying that you working and that doesn't make you a woman, but it does toughen you up more than you're supposed to be. And Monet says, I need a man too. I'm taking applications. I'm 35 with twins. I have 2 flexible jobs and I need a night out, fellas. All right, now come on. I'm telling you, I'm going to start a dating service. How about that? We start a dating service up in here. And Fight for Black says, Queen Demetria, I was actually married to, he says, quote unquote, I make $70,000 a year. This is mine. Oh, Lord. So I divorced her after 2 years and she is now pandering to get a man on Facebook. See, that's not how it works. So what, you making $70,000 a year? Do that make your man less than you? It's because you made that. I mean, that's money, but it ain't that much money for you to be, talking to your man like that. And now, like you said, she looking for a man, but she had one, but she let Benjamin Franklin, screw her out of her man. All right, Robin says, exactly, Donovan. The man bring home all the bacon. I mean, that's what my fathers did, both of them.
All of it. There's no excuses. All of it. But that's why a lot of back in our grandfather's day, a lot of the men, if you couldn't bring home the whole bacon, they left. You couldn't even be around. You left. And that's when they left the homes because they couldn't find jobs or whatever. And for some reason, we keep giving these young men passes. No, there are no passes. If you're going to take a wife and have that woman or a girl bring your children in the world, no, ladies, hold these men accountable. Hold them accountable to what they say they were going to do. Because when they were in the bed with you, oh, girl, we're going to be together forever. We're going to have this big family, whatever. Hold them to that. Hold them to it.
That's right. And I'm going to say this, too, before I get to the comments. And I've said this before. Black women are, I think, really one of the only race of women who are taught that if you expect something out of your man, especially financially, you a gold digger. We feel like there's some shame. And I'm one of those people. I'm not speaking from a point that I've always been, hey, you know what? But we've been taught shame. And if we expect our man to pay some bills, we've been taught that you a gold digger. Girl, you need to get out there, and enjoy the struggle relationship. Enjoy, doing the heavy lifting. Like we've gotten used to that, and it's not the way it's supposed to be. So we need to unlearn those things. And we definitely need to stop teaching that to our daughters, that ain't nothing wrong with you being with a man who has a problem with, at least helping down, So, and let's see here. And Robert says, exactly, Donovan. Oh, I read that. And then Fight for Black says, Monet, the fellas are in the chat. There is a black man here for you that will love your kids as if they were his own. Absolutely. I'll be believing all that nonsense Kevin Samuels running around talking about a woman with kids on a man won't you. That's a lie. And Hood Sweden says, marriage is a team work against the dog-eat-dog predatory world. It is important to focus on the home agenda to not get swept up in the world agenda. Absolutely. And then Kara, you say, I feel you. And Fight for Black says, Donovan, my hand is raised. And Pioneer says, if we as Afro-Americans want to solve our problems, then we must be practical. Most Black men and women aren't in the position to play their traditional quote unquote roles. The very expectation of this causes conflict. Yes, indeed. But we need to get in the position, right? And Fight for Black says, Queen Demetria, King Donovan, and Black family, they hate us because of the love that we show towards each other. The image of the Black man and woman in love is a threat to all other races. And that is a fact. That's a fact, which is why they do so much. I mean, if you look at some of these commercials nowadays, y'all seen some of those commercials where it's a Black woman with a white man or a white man with a Black woman. It's like, where are the commercials with Black people together? That's done on purpose. If y'all haven't already noticed, I'm sure you have. Stacy, what's going on with you? It says working from home is a thing long before COVID. Yeah, a lot of people were working from home, but a lot of people are working from home now. They're trying to get people to go back, but we're going to see how that's going to work out. And Selena says, I'm really digging today's topic, but I miss you guys on the war zone, sad face. Oh, yeah. But we here, though. We here.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. Tay says, at her sweetness, yep, I've been at home since a couple of months before my kids. She deserves the nurturing in the formative years. Yeah, I mean, listen, no shade to anybody that puts their child in a daycare, because I understand this as a necessity, right? I had my daughter there for 2 weeks, and I would show up and pick her up and take her home to my mom and my sister. Like, I'm gonna be off in a couple hours, please. I just can't take her back. I can't do it. And fortunately, I had family that was able to watch her while I worked. But yeah, I think mothers should be with the children in their formative years. Otherwise, somebody else is teaching them their ideology. They spend time in the daycare, wherever, and it's like a conveyor belt system. I'm just dealing with your kid because they're here. They need somebody to watch them, but rarely, and I'm not saying this bad about daycares, but they're not really pouring into your child what you would pour into your child. The Pioneer says, King and Queen, I hear what both of you are saying, and you're correct. However, you're expecting people to sacrifice and budget their money, and most won't. So we need to factor that in and find an alternative. Well, the alternative is just do it. Just figure out a way to budget your money, because if you're bad at budgeting money on one income, you're going to be bad at budgeting money on two incomes. You're just bad at budgeting money. The money, you ever know somebody gets a raise or they come into some more money? Donovan, what do?
They go out and get the cars and get the toys and go on the trips and all that other stuff. Which is why the child support system needs to be revamped, because when the guy gets a raise, the kids get a raise, which means the guy doesn't get a raise. He's still stuck at where he's at eating ramen noodles, and then he's mad and embittered because he's not enjoying the fruits of his labor, what he's doing. So you're de-incentivizing him from being a good father and a provider for his kids, even though he's outside the home. So, but that's the first thing we do. We get toys, we go on trips, we buy Jordans, and we go do that. That's the first thing we do. I have a friend that does that, still broke, over $200,000 a year, broke.
Yeah, because they just found a way to get another bill to trick off that extra money they brought in. And so Tay says, I deleted that comment because you're addressing. Yeah, and unfortunately on our end, it doesn't delete, but on the platform you're on, it deletes. So sorry about that. And Pioneer says, we can't necessarily go by what these immigrants are doing because they are being brought in and given money and given jobs. If the laws were properly enforced, most of them wouldn't even be here. But I think Donovan is speaking more to it, culturally speaking, that's how they operate. The woman stays home. And Kara says, agree, Donovan. And Curtis, how you doing? He says, who's sweating that dark chocolate brother in the back? Everyone in the ad is black, and we know the sister is going to leave with a pretty dark brother. You might be on to something. They might have
the very sweet of the juice.
Yeah, I mean, hell, they might went off into the sunset and built something big together. And her sweetness says, that's so true. And Jafia says, Donovan, if a woman is a housewife, she deserves a girl's night out. I'm with you on that one.
No, I'm with you on that one. What I'm saying is our grandparents and stuff, you didn't really see them talk about a girl's night out. They were content to be with the kids and the grandkids and all that, and just, live all that. If they did go out, it was a family outing. I just don't remember my grandmother talking about, girl, we need a girl's night out. I never,
I don't remember my grandmother or my mom saying a girl's night out, but they did stuff. They did have some time to themselves.
But exactly. But that's what I'm saying. We didn't know. It's like drugs, weed and stuff, and all process. That's always been in the community, right? When we were coming up, it was in the back room. That's why they wouldn't let us back there. You couldn't go in the back room where the adults were, because they were doing foolishness. Yeah, doing their thing. But now you got these younger kids smoking right there with the kid, right there. 3 years old, just getting high with the kid right there.
That's a damn shame. And Fight for Black says, and black women are the most educated in America. Absolutely. We need to start moving forward.
And if they are the most educated in America, and I would not say that they are not, why is it that we can't get a bill to even get to the floor to get us reparations? Why is it that we don't have nothing and we voted this clown in office and we still ain't gotten it? Where are these educated black women now? Where are they at? Where did they go?
The Bermuda Triangle, as I said the other day. And Stacey says, girls' night out used to be cousins, sisters, family night in. Yeah, it was more family oriented. So I do remember my mom doing that. Like, her girlfriends would come over and they would chit chat. And as I said, you'd be walking through the living room, ear hustling. They'd be like, get out my mouth.
Well, what you stop for?
Right.
What you pausing for?
Exactly. I ain't talking to you. Go somewhere.
Yeah. And you know what? I have a cousin. She's a year younger than me. And she met her husband. He's from Chicago and stuff. And she just makes me sick. She retired from her job, left California like everybody's doing, every black person's doing, moved back to Louisiana, where we're all from, we're all born there. And her and her husband are just in love, putting up the love pictures, enjoying their property, and just in love. And it's like, I always boo their pictures because it's like, I wish that was me. You know what I mean? She found a man that loved her. No, they don't, they're living off their retirement, but they're living within their means and they're happy. Stress-free, out of California.
Just keep waiting for it, brother. Just keep hope alive. And Tay says, y'all stay paraphrasing my words. I never said hell to a man. I want to be with a man. That's not a problem. I didn't say that. I think Donovan was joking.
No, I'm joking when I do that because that's what feminists sound like to real men. To real men, we don't want to hear that shit because you're not talking to us. But that's what we hear. Men ain't shit. Men ain't that. No, we don't want to hear all that. You know what? And when women have that attitude, then you wonder why these weak brothers, I got to say weak, go to outside the race. So there's a lot of beautiful sisters, but who wants to deal with hearing this all the time? I'd rather go over here and have fun over here,
And the pioneer says, actually, Latino women suffer more abuse than black women, and the men ruin their health working so much and drinking. They just don't think there's anything wrong with it because it's commonly accepted. Yeah, that's culturally, that's like I don't say they don't know anything different, but that's just the way it is. And so I think you may be on to something. Right for Black said the reason I don't need a man, quote unquote, thing arose is because white feminism and orca the whale dumping on black men. Yes, indeed. And Taylor says, I've been studying this in class. Marriage is no longer the only means of the absolute survival for women anymore. It's
oh my God, the social construct. Here we go.
It says it's a choice, like Demetra, to want to need a man around. No, it's absolutely a choice. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Taylor. Who wrote that book? Was it a white person or was it a black person? Because when it comes to relationships, every culture is different. So if you're reading a book that is written by the oppressor, I would say that you're reading something wrong because that wouldn't apply to your culture. So you got to be careful what you're reading and what's being taught. And
even back then, marriage wasn't the only means to survival. I mean, there's women that was game changers, way back in the day, So it was never the only means, but it was desired. Like men and women, that was admirable to get married and start a family and kids and do something big and leave legacies. That was the goal, and that was okay, right? So it wasn't necessarily like it was a means of survival, because like I said, my mom was already dope before she met my daddy. My mom just made it in my dad being Nation of Islam, he wasn't gonna have his woman out there on the stroll punching no clock for no white man. The Muslims don't believe in that, because when you got your woman out there on the stroll, and I'm saying the stroll, but it's a job, working for the white man, she's susceptible to do any and everything he wanted her to do to bring home a paycheck, because as their ideology is, as a man, you couldn't do all the providing. So now your woman is out there susceptible to a whole lot of unnecessary stuff. So that was my mom and dad's situation. And I tell you, I can say 2 + 2 of y'all like George Washington, laugh out loud. Brian says, Curtis, I think she's gonna leave with the tall brother just to let her just to her left, but the dark brother is gonna sneak over from time to time. Y'all wilded.
Yes, let me buy that wine so I can sneak up from behind. Dickie said it a long time ago.
Gerard says that's not the modern age, though. Most ads have heterosexual couples. Yeah, I think he's referring to crazy ass Donovan. And Hood Sweetness says Black women are the most educated and underpaid. I'm university educated and selling lotto tickets for minimum wage because in the office I get groped or racism. I hate gambling too. And KMT, I know what that means, but I can't remember what it means. But yeah, so you're absolutely right. We are. We're the most underpaid. We're doing the same job a white woman's doing or a white man to get far less. So
well, I got a question. I got a question. And like I said, I'm not doubting, because I've been to school, as you guys know, for a very long time. So I do know Black women are very educated. But you could be educated and still be a fool, because please tell me, if Black women are so damn educated, why do you keep picking the same guy with a different face to have children with and to raise a family? Answer that question.
You trying to throw rocks, but I'm gonna let them get you in the comment section. And Stacy says, my daughter did everything except the kettle from age 3 to make hot chocolate, as well as planting in our garden. Son started saving at age 8 for chores. What they see at home, they love home cooking. Yeah, absolutely. It starts at home first. And Jafia says, I mentioned that they were teenagers because some people got their nuts in a knot about women serving their man. Okay, got it. Tahiri, how you doing? Says, I made sure I cooked some meals while dating, married 28 years now. Okay.
Wait, I got a question. I got a question too, since we're talking about pictures and images. How many of you guys saw the image of the Negro and the white witch, and he's doing the slave thing?
Oh, I saw, yeah. How about they take the wedding?
The wedding pictures, and he's a slave and stuff like that. But that's acceptable, right?
No.
That's okay.
No. And Fight for Black says this picture is a 21st century influence within the Black community. We promote men and women being together first. Yes, indeed. And let me see, get to the other ones. And Gerard says, nah, he's not getting the VIP because that's why he's at the club. Exactly. You know, well, for the most part, is your man getting that at home to where he wouldn't have to or want to be in a strip club? I don't know. And Lamarcus, how you doing? He says, how y'all been doing? We've been doing well. How about yourself? Fight for Black says, Donovan, men are the hunter and gatherers. Our queens are the natural nurturers. They also hold the kingdom down until we get back home.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But for some reason, feminism has said that women could hunt and gather on their own. They don't need us.
Shit, I know I ain't trying to be out there hunting and gathering nothing on my own at all, because it can be dangerous out there. And let's see here. And Hood Sweetness says, Stacy, you sound like a great mom. Yes, indeed. And Sunlight says, NOI value women. I traveled with them once to the anniversary of the Million Man March, and I have never felt so protected and respected. I'm telling you, that is like, there's none like it. Nothing like it. My father's, NOI since he was 19, and he's 77 now. So
yes, and he stole a woman from one of my fellow veterans. Shame on him. Shame.
Hey,
our guys are smooth. They're smooth now.
Very smooth. Lamarcus says, stop making Donovan the bad guy, y'all. Uh-oh. Oh. And let's see here. What did I see here? I went away. Somebody gave, I think it was you, Pioneer, for the $5. Thank you so much for that. And let's see here. Where did it go? Somebody said Donovan was the bad guy. He is bad guy. And Curtis says, Donovan, too soon. If a dude starts making a float for me, I'm watching to make sure I'm not sending the wrong vibe.
No, see? Curtis, look, see, you're totally wrong now. See, you're wrong because, he's trying to be nice to you. You got to be accepting of his advances because, we're in the 21st century and anything goes. See what I'm saying?
Lord have mercy. Zebras, how you doing? That's Smoke. How you doing? He says, greetings, y'all, listening from Tampa.
Yeah, by the way, my brother became a grandfather for the second time. I think this is your second grandchild, I think. Yeah.
So, congratulations.
Yeah, so him and his wife, and his wife's her first time, but, whatever. So, yeah, grandparents.
Congratulations. Anita, how you doing? He says, greeting, what did I miss? Nothing, you right on time. The Pioneer says, Queen, I'm telling you, this arguing between Black men and women on social media is being orchestrated. It's led by people who do live lives that encourage hatred of the Black person of the opposite sex. I'm with you. I believe it's orchestrated as well. I mean, you can't deny it. Like every commercial you see damn near of couples, it is of, interracial relationships. And
damn, we'll see a black buck on top of a white woman. That will never happen on this network.
And again, to each his own. I don't have an argument in the fight. My man is mixed. He is black and he is white. So
no, he's not. That's a lie. Al is a DeBarge. All right, done.
Anyway, and I'm gonna go past the replies, y'all. And then Javai says, I think black men and women love each other. The media has the propensity to focus on the negative. Yes, indeed. And Hood Sweetness says, the woman in the picture's dress is beautiful and modest. I'm trying to change my wardrobe like this. I feel like they push skanky clothes because it's cheaper to sell less fabric. Long dresses are near $100. You know what? I think you own to something. Because back then, but those women, they had a few dresses. They didn't have a whole closet full of dresses. They had a few nice looking dresses and it was just acceptable. But
more is less. I mean, it gives us something to think about. When I was in high school, I would see some girls dressed, fully dressed back in the day, in our day. And you were just like, wow, I bet she's a banger, under that. You know what I mean? You just couldn't help because you could see the shape and everything. And you're just like, wow, I know you couldn't see nothing, but you can imagine.
Yep. And again, y'all, I'm going to go past the replies. So you guys are having a conversation with each other just for the sake of time. And Kojo, how you doing? He says, good evening from Brooklyn, everybody. How you doing? And, okay, so let's see here. The Pioneer says, I actually prefer the masculine man and feminine woman roles, but I understand that society prevents most of our people from achieving this, so we shouldn't fight each other for not living up to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To each his own.
And I think we should just learn how to do that. Just like try your best to learn how to operate in those roles. Again, not coming from the standpoint that I'm beneath him if I learn my role per se. It's not what it means. Just learn how to operate that way. So, I mean, it's more fun. Like for me, it's fun to cook and then, my man come home and I'm like, dinner's ready. It's fun to see him enjoy that. Now, if I cook something he don't like, then that ain't fun, but what to try not to do that,
I don't eat that. I don't eat that.
But then again, that's kind of knowing the other person. I know he ain't gonna eat no Brussels sprouts and no okra. I know he ain't gonna
eat all that
no.
green juice you be making.
That ain't gonna happen. Okay, I had to put the vitamins in the applesauce for him, right? Hopefully he ain't watching this. And let's see here. Eli, how you doing? And Kira says 70K isn't that much. It's especially not in today's time. It's not.
It's not that much, but it's manageable. It's manageable. Depending on what you're doing. Like I'm just going to say this. Yesterday I had $6,500 left on my car. I went ahead and paid it off because I figured, hey, the money I'm going to save in the interest I would give them over another year. I said, no, I'll just go ahead and pay it off now and be done with it. So, you can make it work because in my retirement, that's about what I make in my retirement right now. And I'm making it work. But guess what? I buy a house, I stay in the house. I have a car, I keep it for 20 years until the wheels fall off. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm disciplined in what I do because guess what? You can't take any of this stuff with you.
See, I'm with you on that one. I'm one of those people too. Like, shit, I don't need a new car every 2 years. Nah, I'm gonna roll this one until the wheels fall off, and then when they fall off, I'm gonna have them put them back on. So, and my car hardly even dry the damn thing. It's like we're literally sit in my driveway for like 2-3 weeks. Or if my brother comes in town, he's like, I'm coming to get your car. I'm like, yeah, okay, see you later. That's the most it gets driven if he comes to get it. And he lives in California. Tyree, I was cracking up at your comment. He says most educated in school loan and in school loan debt. Yeah,
yep, that's true.
There's a lot of debt.
But wait a minute. A lot of you educated black women voted for Joe Biden. Why hasn't he?
Because he was supposed to be forgiving these loans.
Yes, that's right. What happened, educated black women? What happened?
He working on it. Give him some time, Donovan.
Right. And I'm not making fun of black women. What I'm saying is when you say that, and a lot of black women brag about we're the most educated, for somebody who's very educated, some of the decisions you guys have made don't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Hood Sweetness says, I love being feminine woman. It's difficult in this predatory world to always be feminine because women have to protect themselves too. It's a hard balance, but I suppose that's the agenda. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Hood Sweetness, I'll agree with you, but like I said, my mom is she's my mom's pretty much a feminist, right? But she's still feminine, but she's hard when she needs to be. So I don't think you actually have to drop your femininity, just to be running around in the modern world. You can still be feminine, but be stern.
Yes, indeed. The partners, the king and queen. What I mean is this: if I'm mayor of a town, I know 90% of the city is low IQ. I'm not going to waste time telling and begging them to get educated. I'm just going to push for low skill job.
Wait a minute, Pioneer. Are you in Moreno Valley?
That's where Donovan lives.
Are you here in Moreno Valley? Because that's what they did here.
Yeah, Lord. You're absolutely right though. And Jafia says happiness is key. Yes, happy is key. Absolutely. And her sweetness says, I feel like we as a people, we are constantly being bombarded with attacks from different angles because the whites want us to have the fragility they are in their head all the time, unlike us. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Hood Sweetness. Why is it that we accept and we subconsciously agree that white people are better than us? They have money. They live in nice, pristine houses. We've been inundated to think that, and we accept it. Just like we have an appeal to authority when it comes to the police. If the police is going to do something to you, don't say nothing. You are not supposed to help them in their investigation, but we do. It's crazy.
Yeah. And Anais, how you doing? He says marriage is honorable before Elohim. Yes, indeed. It's what they tell us anyway, right? And Taylor says, did y'all talk about the boy who got bullied because of his mom's only fan? I was setting up my new soap dispenser. No, we didn't talk about that. I didn't hear about that yet, but I would imagine
tomorrow, Free Flow Friday, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and let's not forget that, Donovan. Yeah, but I imagine if you on OnlyFans and you got kids and the kids' friends and all that, find out you on.
What about all these women that did porn? And the kids are now of age and they're saying, wow, mama's busting it open. Grandma's busted it open back in the 1990s.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, you just have to think about your kids before you're doing that kind of stuff, right? I guess. He also said it was not a book, quote unquote. It was stories and studies from early 1900s during the women's rights movement. I am smart enough to filter out what wasn't meant for me and my culture.
Okay, the early 1900s women's rights movement, that was a white woman's movement. So I'm still not understanding what you're getting out of a culture that has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, the suffrage movement is what it was. And, truth be told, Susan B. Anthony and them, they was mad that black men could vote. Black men could vote since the 1870s or something like that. So they were mad. They were like, well, the Negro could vote and we can't. That's not right. But when they tell us about the women's movement, the suffrage movement in the early 1900s, they rarely talk about their being racist.
Their role, right.
Yeah, they were mad that black men could vote and they couldn't.
Right. And then you got to think about this, Taylor, too. They're talking about revisionist history that's going on in the South. It just passed in Texas. They are putting out laws so that the real truth is not told. They don't want people, these white kids, to know that the KKK is a bad thing. So what do they call it? Critical race theory. They don't want that being taught. So I'm not telling you what to do because you're a grown woman and you're an intelligent woman. But what I'm saying is you're quoting stuff that really is not attracted to us. It really has nothing to do with us as a culture.
Curtis says, I think that a lot of the I don't need a man talk is sour grapes. Women who have had too many F-boys are now bitter and wouldn't know a good man. Yeah, and I think that you're right. That has a lot to do as a woman. I'm speaking from a woman who's been with some F-boys, and looking back, I was like, well, I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't, make sure I was making the right decision for myself. I went off of the surface, Like I tell y'all the story all the time about a boyfriend I had who told me he was a teacher, but the Negro was actually a crossing guard at the school. Now, had I drove up there and I would have saw him, no shade.
In his sweats, with the chair on the sidewalk.
Right. You know, and I'd ask him more questions. I would have known he wasn't no teacher, but you know, that was partially my fault too for not investigating, you know. Like what grade you teaching? What subject you teaching? You know,
What's
I was
your
in my young
certification?
20s too.
What's your certification? When did you get your certification?
I was in my young 20s too, so I guess I give myself a pass. And the pioneer, you say to my brother Donovan, I actually agree with you. And you say, but you and believe men should be heads of the household. So don't feel like I'm a traitor to feminism.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, like I said, I don't care what it's said out there in the world. I will be the head of my household, and any woman that can't roll with that ain't gonna be rolling with me. Period.
Yes, indeed. And Tahiri says that slave picture was sick. I was wondering if the man was from the Americas. So what I understand, he is not. They're both actually Dominican Republic, and she is a black woman too, if you will. I guess just a lighter one. She's a mulatto, from what I understand. So there's actually a backstory to it, but they are both from the Dominican Republic.
But does that make the picture correct?
Absolutely no. Or no, but you know, it just obviously they have some issues, you know. But it makes it worse that they are both black. It's like, what's wrong with you? You know. And the pioneer says, I've also risen to another level. I just no longer just look at problems, but I look into it and why it exists. I realize that black men and women behave the way we do because of improper education
and lack of money. Think about it. If we got our reparations, do you think the crime would be as high as it is in our neighborhoods if everybody got their rightful amount of money and finances and resources? I don't think so.
Well, yes and no, but to his point about improper education, not just academically speaking, but in every way, shape, and form, we don't have a love for self or knowledge of self. And so when we get that money, shit, you think crime ain't gonna go up? It's gonna be a mess out there. So we do need the proper education. Jafia says there's nothing wrong with a woman at least leading to be a hunter. We can't depend on a man always being there. We turn the responsibility over to the man when we get one. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, I've been a single woman, and y'all be surprised at stuff I know how to do just because there wasn't a man around at the time. And I was like, well, F it. And my daughter too. We just figure stuff out, you know.
You still do it.
You know, or out of habit, really, you know, because I'm home all the time. If I need something done, I can't wait for him to get home. I could, but, you know, just being me, I'm like, oh, let me just go ahead and just do it real quick, right?
And, you know, and again, ladies, you got to remember, human species is a form of animal. We are no different than any other animal. In the mammal species, the women, they mate, raise the kids pretty much by themselves. The guy's gone. So what I'm saying is you guys are a very, very strong species of animal, as in a woman and being human. So, you know, you guys having to be strong when you need to be strong, there's no problem with that. The problem is you got some women out there that want to be strong and don't want to give it up when a strong alpha male comes to. I know you guys have heard the term alpha male and an alpha female can't get along. They get along enough to procreate, and then they go their separate ways because they can only be one.
Okay. And her sweetness says, I agree, men should be head of the household. However, I feel like submissive is the wrong term to use to describe how women role is, because a submissive woman is the one who opens the door to destruction.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. Submissive is, you know, it's different to different people, but it definitely doesn't mean like slave or nothing. I mean, I wouldn't take it like that. I mean, I have to be submissive to my wife. If you follow the Bible, it says men must be as submissive to the wife as the wife is submissive to him. So is that saying that I'm lower than her or she's lower than me? No, it's saying we must do for each other.
And I think as how you are defining submissive too, because I think that's kind of where a lot of times it gets lost in translation. People hear the word submissive, it's almost like, you know, water to a witch, you know. Kojo says, black fact, African-American women collectively are the most educated group on the planet. And that
I'm gonna have to challenge that after this election. I'm gonna have to challenge that.
Don't get cut, brother. Hood Sweden says, but a woman who's too controlling can destroy the family too, man. You ain't lying. It's called, you know, and I'm gonna say this as nicely as I can, button your lip up sometimes. Button your lip up and listen sometimes. You ain't always got to have the range, you know what I mean? Sometimes, and listen, I'm one of those people, I'm very strong in a lot of ways. And that's something I have to remind myself sometimes and be reminded of. Hey, you need to back down.
The whole time we were in Costa Rica, slow down, watch the curve, do this.
Now, I almost called you the N-word. Was trying to kill us, okay? I'm like, we not in one of your little fancy airplanes you be flying, okay? We are in Costa Rica where these roads ain't so great. I'm trying to get back home, brother, in one piece. And let's see here. Wilbur, how you doing? It says, between my wife and I, we have 5 incomes, and we need every bit of it until we get these student loans forgiven. The student loans are eating us up. Yep. And
why hasn't Joe Biden, by executive order, which he can do, he can forgive all of the debt, all of it, but he doesn't want to do it because he's beholden to the banks, and so are a lot of the Democratic congressmen and senators. They won't do it. They want to keep you in perpetual debt because that's where the banks make a lot of their money.
And him forgiving those student loans, shoot, that goes all the interest the banks are making. And so Joe Biden ain't about to do that to his homies. And the Pioneer says some Black folks aren't interested in healing the rift between Black men and women. They want and encourage fighting because it increases views and donations, like these social media beefs so many engage in. You said a word right there. And Anonymous B, how you doing? He says men are like roommates from college. Well, damn. You know what though? You stepped on some toes with that one, but you ain't lying. You know that. Essentially, that's what you are. If you got to go half. Oh, here go my half.
I'm cleaning. Wait, what's love got to do with it? I'm cleaning one fork, one spoon, one plate.
that was she's got to have it. Yeah, Mars. He said, yeah, I'm cleaning one spoon, fork, and plate. That's all I used. You know, it's like, well, damn. Okay, but you're right though. That's essentially what a lot of people are in, roommate relationships. But how about I give you half of this?
Right.
And Tay says, I need a juicer. The green juice is a hit.
You know what? I need to get one too. I've still been using my blender, but
oh no, you need a juicer.
I need a juicer. Okay.
Oh yeah, because you get all the pulp and stuff with the blender.
Okay, yeah. Well, I like the pulp. That's my thing. I like the pulp with it. So
good fiber.
Okay.
And the Pioneer says, if you pay close attention when they're beefing with each other or bashing the opposite sex, they're doing it with a smile and grin. They aren't hurt or angry. They are profiting off of Black destruction. I'm with you. And Tay says, Donovan, generalize, quote unquote. And the Pioneer says, DJ Vlad from Vlad TV is from the Ukraine, but he learned how to talk Black and wiggle into the community. I think some of this friction is caused by Russian agents who have infiltrated Black social circles.
Oh my God. You actually believe the Russians have anything to do with what goes on in America? You probably believe the Russians actually helped Trump get elected, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna go past again the replies, and Tay says, I know what CRT is. Okay. Tay says celibacy. I know I said that wrong, but I know what I mean. Helps in dating because a F-boy won't wait, but a good man will. I agree with that, but you know what though? There's a lot of men, maybe I shouldn't call them that, but who won't? You know, I heard Kevin Samuels because Al sometimes listened to him, and I had my headphones on trying not to listen. He was basically saying, that women shouldn't make men wait. You know what a man wants, and I'm like, I'm supposed to just serve it up with the side dish that comes to the dinner. I mean, like, it's more than just a piece to you. That's something you're supposed to, right? Cherish. It ain't something you just serving up like it's, some water. But yeah, I agree. But then other part of that too is like, ladies, you ain't gonna give them none ever. You don't ever see yourself with them. Then yeah, stop going out to dinner with them. Stop having that a girl's got to eat mentality. You go home and make your own plate, right? And Husserina says, yes, Vlad is an agent. I really believe he is too. And Tahari says, the women's movement gave women's rights to inherit and control the real estate and assets. That is, I mean, look, and Me Too movement as well.
Yeah, well, that's partly the reason, but I really think the women's movement was basically the white woman trying to have say-so from the white man. It really had nothing to do with any other culture but white people. It had nothing to do with it. We just co-signed on to it.
Yes, indeed. And Brotham, it says everything is stolen. Police sole purpose is to attack the individual assigned enemy of the state. And Tay says submission is not a dirty word. It would only be negative with the wrong partner. Yes, indeed. Now that I totally agree with. And Hood Sweetness says so true, so true. And Tahiri says if a shift situation, some of those women will be wanting and needing a man. Yes, indeed. Yeah, okay. Let a spider crawl across the damn wall or something. I know the first person I'm calling, ow, ow. Now, if that happens and he ain't around, then I'm like, Father God, give me strength. And it'd be a spider this damn big, you know. And the pioneer says, oops, where'd it go? In our community, if our community got their reparations right now in the shape most are in, they cleared the shelves in liquor stores and weed shops, and nearly a quarter of them would be dead within a month. You know what, though? As effed up as that sounds, I agree with you. Like, the money is ours and we should have it, but I don't know if we're in a position to really appreciate that money, you know?
But I still want my money.
Of course.
It's not my job to worry about what everybody else is going to do with theirs.
I agree, but I think, yeah, I think stuff will get real, you know? And Sunlight says really strong women are tired of being strong. Yes, that's hard. That is a hard cross to bear. Man, it just is, you know? Like I said, I've spoken to white women and stuff at the job that I used to have. I actually used to do the census. I can talk about it now. I'm not there anymore. I used to work the census for a survey that dealt with the employment rate. And I would talk to a lot of white women. Oh, I have this little job. It's an internet job where I sell, you know, a jewelry I make on the side. Oh, but my husband, he's an engineer. You know, he's into the tech industry. So it wasn't like she was using that little job, and I don't want to deduce it to just a little job. She wasn't paying no bills with that. It was something she was doing. But her husband, he was balling, you know. And Sunlight also say, yes, Black women are the most educated group, and simultaneously the poor is not a good look. Yep, absolutely. And what they say, the average net worth of a Black woman is $5. And Jafia says, hey, if he's doing it right, I'm totally submissive. Come on now. Come on now. And her Sweetness says, reparation ain't going to happen. They owe us everything they got plus interest. They will never give it up. It needs to be taken. That, and when we unify and stop this bickering between Black men and women and get on the same page and start voting for our better interests, I think we'll see it.
Yeah, Hood Sweetness. I mean, like I said, they're talking about voter suppression, just like Demetria's always said. Isn't voting these people for 30 years that don't do nothing for you a form of voter suppression?
Isn't it? You know, I think it is. And the pioneers, and I'm sorry, I skipped through all the replies, but the pioneer says we shouldn't listen to Kevin Samuels at all. And I tell you why. He's like Donald Trump. He'll say some truth and good things to hook you in, then feed you poison and hatred once you're hooked. Now that I totally agree with. You know, like I said, I'm not saying all the things he says is wrong, but it's like, man, the way he becomes, and I'm like, is he naturally a grumpy dude? Like he just the way, like when he talks to women, he's almost like, what? No, that's not it. You're not listening. You see, man, this is the type of way, and it's like, God, do you wake up like that? Or is it just, does that what Black women do to you? I don't know.
See, no, that's not it, Demetria. Do you guys see in the chat? Do you guys see what's going on here? Do you see what we got to deal with?
And Sunlight says Kevin Samuels was full of it, encouraging promiscuity, then talking about body count later. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So it is like the messages are just all over the place. But see, Sunlight, you're rare. we're all rare because we hear that. But a lot of his followers don't hear that. They don't hear the double messages that he sends. But we're like, wait a minute, that ain't what you said before now. And then because that same ideology, you'll tell a woman how she's used goods. Ain't no man gonna want to be with you. And so it's like pick a
Girl,
message.
you got a high body count. Sorry.
And a woman worth her weight ain't never gonna tell you how many you been with. Or we get together, just you, baby. Where them kids come from, I don't know. They just here.
Yeah, they say if she's got like 6 kids, multiply that by 8 if you want a foundational body count.
Who in the hell is this they? From Acme Academy?
6 times 8 gives you a good foundation.
That's a damn lie right there. You tripping. Lord have mercy. Okay, so and Antoine says, cut the check damn straight. And X, how you doing? He says, denationalization first, discrimination for 100 million race first. Okay. And Hood Sweden says, Kevin Samuels is a typical narcissist. He wants to abuse people and get people to accept his abuse, telling people to do something, then condemn them. Is typical of those types. They often try to be self-help gurus. Yeah. He's just making a bag off of, a certain sector of the population who would just wait for somebody to come along and validate the way they already feel. And he's doing a good job. And he claims himself to stand up for men. I'm standing up for men. You taking their money. Let's keep it real. And Tay says, he said, Affion Crockett does a great impression of him and others on Instagram. You talk about Kevin. And I used to say, I've never been promiscuous. Me either. Donovan, I always want to refer.
I'm not going to say anything about that barrack incident. No.
There actually is a barrack incident. Maybe one of these days I tell you about it. And I wasn't being promiscuous. That was my man, okay? All right, I'll tell y'all about it, okay? I don't want y'all to see. You guys promise you'll respect me in the morning if I tell you this story, okay? This was no fault of my own, okay? I was very, very young. Actually, my daughter's father. Well, I went to see him on the base. We hanging out and stuff. That was my dude. All of that. So we go back to his barrack, and I should really put this in my memoirs if I ever have one. Went back to the barracks, and we was in the barracks, and it was dark, and I heard some rustling around in the room, and I was like.
Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Marine and Army, they live in open bay barracks. Usually, back in our day, that's what it was. I don't know what they're doing now. Air Force, you might have one roommate at the most, whatever. But in a Marine barrack back in the day, it was like 12 men to a barrack.
Now, I wasn't no 12 men.
No, but that's usually the barrack of a Marine back in the day.
It was his roommate, and I knew his roommate, and I'm like, you dirty mother. He's laughing. And I'm like, either that's good for you or bad for you if he's laughing. I don't. Needless to say, I was like, parties, show is over. Show's over, homie. Good night. That was so long ago. Lord have mercy. All right, back to the regular scheduled program here. Okay, but I wasn't promiscuous, though. Back to the original point. In excess, now it's universal for everyone and still on a higher intellectual level, denationalization. Okay, I'm going to have to look into that for real. And the pioneer says, I understand the argument of reparations now, and I wouldn't turn it down if they were to offer it. However, it is best for a billionaire to grant his wealth to a son at 13 when he is a mature is a mature adult.
Well, here's a true fact. Donald Trump's father, when Donald Trump was born, was shoveling him money every year to avoid taxes. By the time Donald Trump was 9 years old, he was already a millionaire. By the time he was 9.
Nice. And Tay says, not enough people have their own self-identity. Kevin Samuels and others prey on that, looking for people to tell them how to think. Therapy would decrease his views by a lot. Yes, indeed. And, I actually agree with that, Tay, as far as therapy. We do need some therapy. I say it all the time. I need some therapy. I got a lot of things to talk about. A lot of things. My therapist's gonna be like, time is up. I'm be like, I thought I got an hour. I can only take 5 minutes of you.
Wait, and you know, before we close it out, I just want to say this. The greatest Olympic champion that we've ever had in gymnastics pulled out because of mental health issues and stuff like that. And I, you know, like I said, that's her call. And notice how quickly the white media immediately is putting all this pressure on this girl, talking about she's weak and she's soft and all this other stuff. This is the game that they play to get in people's heads and stuff like that. I think Simone Biles, or is that her name, Simone Biles? She did the right thing, which was best for her. I have no doubt that if she competed, she probably would have blown the hell out of the whole goddamn thing. But, you know, what is your take on the step that she took in regards to mental health? Because in our community, mental health is so damn fragile. And if it wasn't so damn fragile, why are we as a people acting the way that we are? Because we are subjected to some of the worst forms of racism that this world has known. And you can't tell me it doesn't affect our psyche.
Well, what I say to that is you owe you. You don't owe everybody else. You owe you. And you know, we've been on platforms before, but none of us have been on the platform that she's been on, where you have the whole world and probably outer space, I don't know, watching you, and you're holding a whole nation on your shoulders. And you mess up, you may not be feeling well already. You know, Simone has had her issues. A brother just beat a murder case, a double murder case. And, you know, you don't know all that she has going on. And so that's a lot of pressure, but she don't owe nobody an explanation. She wasn't feeling well mentally, physically. She only owes her. She don't owe us. And that's the problem with white supremacy, is they talk about slavery is over and we're not racist. Yes, you are. It's racist for you to treat that little girl. I mean, she's a little girl. I'm not saying to be disrespectful, but to treat her like she's a mule. Get out there and perform. Get out there and make your country proud. Why? When she come back here and y'all dog her out, because she's a black woman, y'all want her to go in there and get something for you, but you ain't gonna do nothing for her. Yeah, somebody say, well, she's making a lot of money. She's making a lot of money off of the talent that was born to her and that was cultivated by her grandparents, because I understand that's who raised her. But that wasn't given to her. She earned that. But at the end of the day, she don't owe nobody nothing but herself. And that's why people end up getting in a way, a bad way mentally, because they don't know how to just say, hey, you know what? I don't care what you think about me. At the end of the day, I owe myself to be whole. And if it means me saying I'm going to walk away from one of the biggest opportunities I'll probably ever have in my life, that's what I'm going to do, because I only owe me. So, all right, so let's get to the rest of these comments here before we get on out of here. And Tahiri says, we grown women have some stories, cautionary tales for the young women. If we ever dare talk, I'm trying to tell you. Gerard says, I think you can pay kids up to $12,000 without them getting taxed, and you can deduct it. Yes, indeed. And the Pioneer says, the same type of people who follow Trump follow Samuels. They tend to be low IQ, thinking extremes, and have problems in their lives. Kevin and Trump gives them a target to blame their problems on. You know what? That is exactly what's going on. You are exactly right. Tari says they don't themselves, they're saves to disobey. I know I'm reading that wrong, or maybe it's a typo too. And Pioneer says, I agree with you. Donovan, Simone Biles had the right to do what's best for her. It's her life. Plus, she can be quite dangerous. And if she is unable to focus, she can hurt herself. Yeah, she can break her neck. And then they're going to be like, next. Fact Not Feeling says, if she says 5, the body count is 5 times 3. Y'all, wow, then. Damn. Well, how about 0 times 3? And her sweetness says, so true. Kevin Samuels has a lot in common with Trump, selling fake success to make duped people prop them up into success. Yep. And Curtis says, few people have faced the pressures that Simone is and was under. F the haters. There you go. And Tahiri says, they're upset the slaves disobey. Yes, indeed. And Jafia says, Simone pulled out to give her teammates a chance to win the gold. That is true. But they end up winning the medal. It says, plus she won, a silver. Plus she wanted to prove to America that they needed her more than she needed them. She's the GOAT and she has no competition. You better believe it. And you also say, let's see. I said chance, okay. And Sunlight says true. Every foundational Black American should have free therapy for life for what we've been through and still going through. Yes, indeed. And Hood Sweetness says so true. The system is a massive fraud and has 99% fail rate run by government that's 30% approved. And Hood Sweetness says those are failing numbers. And Imani, how you doing? It says Simone Biles has done enough to sit down and relax for the rest of her life. Her talent speaks for itself. They always trying to shut Black talented athletes down, or shut down. Absolutely.
Yeah, and real quick, you guys hear about the white girl, the soccer player that is the face of cannabis and stuff, and yet you won't let
Megan
the Black
girl.
it's just insane.
Megan Rapinoe, she's talking about CBD and all of that, but yet Sha'Carri Richardson is disqualified for smoking weed. But hey, it's their country. So anyway, we are out of here. Thank y'all so much for being here. 2 hours on the dot. You guys do have a great rest of your Thursday evening. We will be back tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time. Continuing on with Free Flow Friday, talking about the things that have happened throughout the week. And of course, taking you guys' comments, questions, and concerns. Thank y'all for being the other side of the conversation. We are going to be back here on most Thursdays just to give us another part of an opportunity to have a conversation with each other. Thank you, Marcus, for everything you do behind the scenes. Again, yes. You too for being the other side of the conversation. And again, we do have a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and for those of you guys who donated to the chat, I appreciate you guys dearly. Donovan, what say you take us out of here?
Hey, I'm going to say thank you guys for tuning in with us. We will be back tomorrow again at my time, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget to check us out on Sundays with the Demetra K Show, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Central Time. And if you guys are bored and really want to hear some craziness, tune into my podcast, Black Politicians Ain't Shit. And you can find it on Google, iHeartRadio, and all that other good stuff, platforms there. So you can find it over there. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow.